You're listening to the Aluminum Contractor Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another training episode. I am so glad that you have joined us today on your drive or wherever you may be. I want to wish you a very, very happy New Year 2026. A little bit late getting this episode out, but I've been under the weather a little bit. But I'm on the mend, and I'm excited to share with you what marketing is working in 2026 for businesses just like yours. Now, if you're new to the podcast, my name is Matt Law. I am the CEO of a company called Grow Inc., and we work exclusively with service-based businesses. And so we're excited to kick off the 2026 season with you. And this year, we're going to continue our podcast series. But remember, if you're new to the podcast, there are some key episodes right at the beginning. It's foundational training that we started with. And so what I would do is I would go all the way back and listen to episode number 1 and the next 11 or 12 episodes, which is the blueprint for growth for service businesses. And so there's 12 episodes, and it walks you right through what you should do to see your business grow by 300, 400, 500% growth. But this year, we're excited to share some new training. We're going to dig into AI. We're going to talk about search engine optimization. We'll talk about websites and CRMs and a whole lot more. But we're also going to do some practical business training to help entrepreneurs. So in the next few episodes, we're going to be releasing some about sales and how you can do a better job with your sales team. It's one of those areas that if a company has a lot of marketing, but yet they don't have a good sales team in place or sales processes in place, they don't do as well. So I'm excited to share those episodes. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you can be updated when we drop those new episodes here really soon. Later this year, we are going to be launching a free school, which is spelled SKOOL. It's an online community just for service businesses. It's going to include free webinars, Wednesday live Q&A, where you can just join the call and ask any marketing questions. We're also going to provide some other free resources, so I want to encourage you to stay connected to the podcast. If you want to get on the waiting list right now, you can go to Grow Inc. That's GRO.INC. You can request our free resources, and we'll notify you when the school goes live. And you can also take advantage of all our great resources there as well. With that said, let's jump into what worked in marketing in 2025 and what we see working in 2026. So I'm going to do a little bit of a review. We're going to look back at 2025, and I'm also going to tell you what I see working in 2026. And let's start by talking about last year. 2025, the economy has still continued to push service businesses to tighten their budgets and to demand return on investment on their ad spend. So last year, I probably had 25 prospect calls, and almost all the companies I talked to were down. Not really a big surprise. They are looking for marketing, and they're down year over year. And the reason why I think the economy is down for service businesses, and I would say in compared to the growth you probably had in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 even, is that the housing market was booming during that time. Well, with higher interest rates, when houses don't change hands as much, it does cause a slowdown for many service businesses. So when I talk to these business owners, I think on average, they're probably down 10 to 20%, some of them substantially more, and they're looking for ways to pivot and make changes. So let me just ask you, how were your revenues in 2025? Most likely they were flat if you were not expanding your marketing. Well, our clients, we had all but 2 clients see great increases. So one saw exposure increase of another 60%. The year before, they had grown by 100%. So we're seeing some really great growth with some clients. One we that did not see growth had more exposure this year than they did the previous year, but it was an acquisition and they had transition on their teams and some things like that. Not a great follow-up or sales system in place. And so they actually decreased a little bit in revenues, even though all of their marketing data shows more leads, more exposure as well. The other client, we had a little bit of growth issue. We don't really know quite where they're at because we haven't received a lot of response from the emails and things. Maybe they're busy, but I do believe that they are down a little bit, but no response from emails. So it's pretty tough. So overall, about 85% success with some big numbers there. And I mean, it's encouraging to us with the economy the way it is. And if you want to know what we did for these clients for them to see that kind of growth, go back and listen to our first episodes. We lay it all out there. Episodes 1 through 12 is the blueprint for growth. And there's some great bonus episodes in here as we go. In today's episode, we're going to walk through what worked and what didn't, and how to use those lessons moving forward in 2026. So let's start with Google My Business, or the local map pack. I will tell you that it is always changing, and we always see Google launch algorithm updates. There was just one launched here in February of this year, and it's always changing. I do see spam filters cracking down harder than ever. And so whenever there is a little hack where you can make a change and rank a little better, companies tend to jump on, and then Google will change it. I've seen this all over the years since 2007 SEO. There was an easy way to rank. 2010 and 11, these updates called Panda and Penguin updates killed everyone who tried to hack or game the system. But a lot of companies are stuffing keywords into their name. So they're going out and getting a DBA, and they are adding their service into their name, which helps them rank faster or higher in the map section. We've also seen companies spam fake traffic with IP addresses and bots to increase click-through rates. So one of the things that Google looks at is, do people click on your profile? And I do believe that Google is wising up, and there is trouble on the horizon if you have tried to game that system. It may work in the short term and maybe for a season, but Google is going to make updates soon. We've seen some updates already do that. Now, we don't do any spamming activities or any unethical marketing activities for our Google My Business profiles. What we try to do is make it healthy. And I always say healthy things grow. If you're a client of ours, you know that I say, hey, we're going to make things healthy, and then healthy things are going to grow. So the winning strategies for your Google My Business is getting more reviews. So I'll talk about that this year quite a bit. Getting more reviews, uploading photos, having your customers upload photos, making sure that you are optimized and you've got the areas you serve, the FAQs, all of that, those areas, ongoing posts on other social media channels, responding to the reviews, having a good website, fast domain authority, or a good domain authority, a fast website, having all those things in place brings a healthy Google My Business profile. Even if you're just starting out, you can see yourself rank really, really well. The ones that are going to get buried on the map pack, those are going to be the ones that are trying to hack things, or they're the ones that are ignoring their Google My Business. So I just encourage you, get citations, which is your name, address, and phone number verified. Get reviews. Every customer, you should ask for a review if the project went well. Post updates, update your hours, make sure your website is healthy, be active on social media, and there's tools to automate this. And it's very, very simple to get all of that. If you do those things, you will see success. So almost all of our clients saw growth in the map packs the last year. And when you look at their Google My Business profile, you can see their calls are up, their traffic's up, all of that. And that really, really is the key. So I would continue in 2026 optimizing your Google My Business. That's a ton of free traffic, especially when you get in the top 3 for your area. One thing to note is you're not going to rank in the top 3 for the entire city, because Google looks at your proximity to the searcher and where your location is. But I will tell you that recently I was looking at a client, and he's like, "Man, I'm averaging number 6." And then we went down and looked at his competitor. So in this huge geographic area with lots and lots of bullet points, he's averaging number 6. Well, he was super encouraged because the closest competitor behind him was averaging ranking in the 9 position. So he really was dominating local marketing. One thing I do see businesses do, and this is plausible if you can do it, is adding additional locations and getting an office. And just remember, you're going to have to verify that office. You're going to have to show Google that you've got an office there to get it verified. But once you do, you can build more citations and have another location in the map section, which is pretty cool. So another thing that I see in 2026 is meta ads, and they did make a big comeback last year for service businesses. I did a couple of episodes on the blueprint for that. We've actually been testing out some other campaign styles as well, and I think with the new algorithm for Meta, and this new update, this Andromeda update, it gives a great opportunity for service businesses to reach customers in their local area on Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. So I do see a low cost per lead on some campaigns. I see a high volume of leads. There's also a great way to do the lead forms where people can fill out a lead form and you can push them into your CRM and follow up with text messaging. That is a lethal combo for winning, especially if you can text them a link to book on a calendar or make it part of the form process to go all the way through that. There's a lot of cool things that you can do now with AI to follow up with these leads. And there's also other campaigns that can be implemented. So we are seeing great success with remarketing campaigns. Now, the cost per, that's called a CPM, or the cost per 1,000 impressions, is kind of high. But what's so cool is when somebody visits your website, we've got one client that the ad is just chasing these people down, and they've seen the ad 40, 50 times, which is huge. We've done some video exposure campaigns, and one of them, my business partner, Jeff, is actually in the video, and he's very talented. And so sometimes we will make videos for our clients. And this one happens to be in our area, and people are recognizing him from the video ad. It's only running on Facebook and Instagram. And they say, "Hey, do you sell?" And this client sells screen rooms. And it was hilarious because their people are noticing them. So the video exposure is working really well. We have another client that has run a video ad, and it is crushing, and it just gets link clicks, and it's clicks over to the website, and the clicks are very, very low cost, and it's generating leads and business. I will tell you that every time we try to measure for a client, Google still has a better ROI, all right, because it's a higher intent. You may get more leads through Meta, but Google, when people are actually searching for you and they click over, it has a much higher intent. So they are looking for your service, higher intent. But Meta is great for remarketing, exposure, and it also allows you to tap into people that maybe aren't looking for you. And the new Andromeda update, and really it's about the creative determines your audience. Well, if you geo-target just where you want your ad to be, where you want to receive leads. One, that's a huge thing you can do. But number two, by creating a lot of creatives, you can build a story about why a client customer should work with you. So they may view one of your ads and slow down on it. But with the Andromeda update, I'm trying to say it right. What happens is they're going to see more and more of your ads. So having multiple creatives and multiple videos is super important. So that's one thing that we are doing in 2026. I do see Meta being a great opportunity for this year, and it's part of all of our marketing campaigns. So we talked about a local SEO, which is the map pack. We talked about meta ads. Let's talk about SEO, or search engine optimization, answer engine optimization. Now they're trying to come up with all of these all these new words. But here's what I'm going to tell you. SEO is organic free traffic, not from the map pack. It's coming from the search engines, and maybe it's Gemini referring it over. Maybe they're clicking on your website and the search results. Here's what you need to know is that SEO is not dead. It just needs a strategy. So there are lots of Google updates, and I imagine this is going to continue to come, and it's going to eliminate short or garbage content or garbage websites where people click over and then leave right away. We are seeing Google. We're seeing more traffic where people will do a search in Google and they're not clicking over somewhere. They're actually getting AI content, which is telling them, so we call that a clickless visit, where they visit to Google. Here's what you need to know is that Google has to monetize the search engine. And so they need to get people to click on sponsored results. And so when there's an AI response, right now, there is not often a lot of ads. And so what that's doing is actually driving the cost of ads up, but we're seeing people search for content and getting less, reading the AI and maybe clicking over through the AI. One thing I should point out is that if your website is trash, if the design is bad, if it's not engaging, then people are going to leave quickly. It's called a bounce in Google, and Google can see all of this because whether you have Google Analytics or not, so many people use the Chrome browser, and that data is then passed back to Google to say, is a site trash or is it good? That impacts the rankings 100% for sure. So the design is super important. I will say that clients that follow our SEO plan by creating a lot of content, and again, you can go back and listen to all of our training by creating a ton of content, pages for specific cities, all of that, they're actually showing up in the AI results, which is getting them clicks over, but then they're also ranking organic. So we are seeing all of our clients had a really, really strong year in 2025 with organic growth. And I mean, on average, a couple hundred visits a month. And if you get 200 visits a month, that is huge. 200 visits will actually, you think about if you were to pay for that in Google, I mean, you're thousands and thousands of dollars. So the better your domain health is, the better the link authority you have going to your site, which is offsite SEO, the more likely your content is to be indexed. Ongoing content is going to be key. Having good content, professional sites. If you lower the bounce rate and have great engagement, Google loves that. I do think we will probably see less traffic in the future due to AI summaries. But I do think it's going to be super important to have big, robust websites with authority content. And so do we suggest clients still invest in SEO? And do we do structured data and the answers on there? Yes, it's changing. And we'll have to see where this goes. But with the amount of traffic that you can get organically, especially because most of our new prospects, they may have 10 or 15 pages indexed, sometimes even less. When you put a 100-page website out there with ton of rich content written by human writers and optimized with SEO best practices, well, then you see, some great growth. With that said, let's talk about another opportunity in 2026, email marketing. And you'd say, well, email marketing, yeah, right. I will tell you, we've had clients that drove 5 or 6 figures last year in revenue for them. And so what happens is you're like, well, no one wants my email. It's going to promotions anyway. But when you check in and they see that in the inbox and you say, hey, there's maintenance reminders and hey, we've got a promotion or we're cross-selling. When you do all of that, you stay in front of the client. Also, this works great with remarketing with your customer list. And what I'll tell you is we had clients cross-sell a ton through email, and they even had another client use postcards. So we use a service called Click to Mail, uploaded all of their customers, sent out postcards. They generated a ton of revenue over on that marketing. And it's probably a 6-figure return on that. And those are customers they already had. And so most contractors I know, they still ignore this gold mine. They won't send out monthly emails or bi-monthly or quarterly They're not remarketing to their audience, and so they are losing out on repeat business. Remember, in marketing, the first dollar is the hardest one to get, right? To make that sale. And once someone becomes a customer, then they're going to be a referral engine. They're also going to give you more business down the road. With some of the technology out there, you can do broadcasts, text or SMS messages too. But really following up with your customers is a huge deal. So we always build that as part of our campaign. So something that I do see that's new, and we're going to talk about this a lot this year, is AI built into workflows. And so AI, artificial intelligence, it's silent, it seems, and it is so powerful. So imagine getting a lead, and then you can follow up in a powerful automation sequence with SMS, with emails for leads to get them to book. If they have a question or they need help, they can ask, and the chat through text messaging can answer them. Very, very powerful. You can also, through text on your website, or if someone's texting or calling in, or if they are using like the chat widget on your website, it can actually do online calendar booking, which is powerful. We've seen AI answering questions all about the business based on your knowledge base, but it can answer questions and then schedule even service appointments. So planning for your AI and planning out the flow is super key, and you almost have to build a funnel. And this is big because you can't just turn on AI and say, AI, do everything. It's not there. But what I do see is AI can help customers and people looking for immediate solutions after hours, even through your phone system, can allow them to book appointments, to get the process started quickly. We just implemented this for a client, and this is radical, right? So now how it works is they do not have a staff answering the phones. And I'm like, no one's going to answer the phones. And I said, yeah, we'll try it. We'll do it. So the way it works for them is they generate a lead, and then it immediately sends them an email and text and says, hey, we just need to get a little bit more information to verify it. And this is in the construction industry. And people are clicking on that, confirming it, which then starts the automation sequence. And then they fill out a quick form with their project details, and it happens super fast. And the next step is that the person who's reviewing the leads, if they're good, says yep or no. If it's bad, yes if it's good. And he moves them quickly to the next category in their pipeline, and it automatically sends them a text and an email with a link to book an appointment. And then after they get that appointment, it sends them confirmations, reminders. It's all integrated with their calendar system. It's bad to the bone for their phone answering system. It says something like, please press 1 if you would like to work with us. And then it says, hey, I can send you a text right away, gathers their information, sends them a text, and then they fill out that form, and it starts that whole process. It's all measurable, but it's super interesting. I actually have a call today to kind of go through that, but I can see in the first week, I think he told me we're going through some transitions in this company. They had not had a lot of appointments throughout January into the first part of February of 2026. And when I looked on his calendar, there was about 7 appointments. So very, very powerful to get people through the pipeline. AI is huge. And I will tell you, this is huge. AI is going to change the face of marketing. It's obviously going to change the world. SEO, PPC, yes, there's ways that it can speed things up and it's going to have impacts, but AI is not at the point where it will just do everything for you. It does take human interaction and somebody who knows how to do that, at least right now. Because eventually if AI can do everything for us, just think, then everything's going to be the same. And the only thing that is going to be different is the human element. And so if you are like a big time Chat GPT user, well, you have to understand, we're talking about the back end of Chat GPT or OpenAI, which is the API side where you can program and build it into applications and systems. And that's what I am talking about being the big thing in the next coming years. And I'm just going to tell you, you can ignore this, right? But your competitors probably aren't. And the customers, they love it. And here's why, because it saves them time. It saves them convenience. It's easy for them to book and get what they want. Now, your competitors, you got to call to make an appointment. You can't even fill out a form, right? So if you will capitalize on this for 2026, it's going to be big. And so we're building this into every project. So there's website chat. It's trained on your business, knows when you started, your hours, your directions, all of this. It can book appointments. It can send them text links. It's powerful. It's always on your website. If people are messaging you and you're trying to follow up, your AI SMS bot can answer questions and it can book appointments. We're using it to answer phones after hours or when nobody answers, and it can send them a link or it can help book an appointment. There's a lot of ways this can be programmed through that, and you can use it as a IVR, interactive voice response system. So it's powerful. There is no magic potion to AI, but this is a huge step forward for self-service. So I definitely am saying, hey, if you have a pulse and you're in the service business, you need to be looking at, AI and how to integrate that into your business. So let's talk about Google Ads and PPC. So Google Ads are expensive, and the price keeps going up. Google does not care about you. They will continue to call you and tell you you're doing things wrong. So you will spend more money with them. That's why they have that sales team. I'm sorry. I think they call themselves customer service representatives. No, they are salespeople. I had a call with one of them one time and I said, how long have you worked at Google? And they're all that's high churn position. She's like, oh, for 2 years. I said, well, how long have you been doing marketing? And it was like 5 years. And I said, well, I've been doing Google Ads since 2001. And they go, oh, I wasn't even born then. So it's actually pretty funny. But these Google people are going to tell you to spend more money. Really, the secret is cut what doesn't work and double down on what does. And so this last year in 2025, Google added their throw-in keywords like close match variance to phrase and exact match. So now they are just throwing in keywords like crazy. And so you need to have really smart targeting, call tracking, and really be all over your negative keywords to keep it profitable. And you have to go through every single setting and not let Google take control. Hang up on those reps because they are terrible. When they email me, I mark them as spam and block them. Yes, the Google reps. And I have had conversations with them. I will tell you, one time I was managing a campaign and they had a dedicated Google rep. They were spending $50,000 a month, generating about 150 leads. We cut it to $25,000 a month and still generated 150 leads. It's all about optimization and cutting out what doesn't work, excluding locations, excluding keywords, and having the right targeting. So for our campaigns, we try to do one service per campaign, make sure there's negative keywords in there. Performance Max can do really well with oversight. It can blow through a ton of money fast. So you want to focus on trying to get driving directions and lead forms. Otherwise, you're going to get just a bunch of spam. Next up, let's talk about local service ads, LSA or Google Guaranteed. These are probably all of the channels I've talked about so far are all the marketing you're probably doing or think about. These are big, hot areas. I will tell you that local service ads are going crazy and it's going to get even more expensive. This is the Google Guaranteed program, and many business owners have all of their eggs in this basket. This is the only way they advertise, and you can blow through a ton of money quickly depending on your category. Some service businesses, depending on the competition, it's up to $200 per call. Think about that, $200 for just one lead. We've seen competitors calling numbers or hiring people to call these numbers to waste their competitors' budget. Can you imagine this? This is super ugly. So your competitors may be calling, trying to get you on the phone, ask you a question or two for about 45 seconds to blow your budget. It is ugly. Google's going to keep it in place. It's so easy for service businesses to set up a Google LSA account and get started with that, but we're going to see the costs go way up. Does it work? Yes, we do see a good return on investment on local service ads, but you have to go through and you have to optimize your zip codes. You have to go through the entire process of managing the leads that are in there, marking and rating the leads, logging in daily, and somebody has to be in there daily to get a lot of calls. The other thing you have to do is you need to have a great reputation online. So you got to have great reviews. If you don't do that, it's going to be trouble as well. So those are the things that I see really being important this year. There are lots of other things as well. That's not a full marketing campaign, but I wanted to start the podcast this year by telling you, hey, here's what I see mattering big time and what you need to have in place. There's lots of other things, like how's your sales? Like how's your team? Like how is your, how are they doing at closing jobs? How is your website? Is it converting, right? There's a lot of, how's social media? We're not going to talk a lot about organic social media because you probably got 100 followers on your social media channel. For you to spend hours and hours on creating a social media post is ridiculous if it's going to reach 100 people. Where you have to spend time on is with the ads. And so the secret really is to have a system in place to make sure you do all of those things so that your business is healthy and healthy things grow. So I got a couple of questions that I want to answer, and these are questions I get all the time. And people are like, hey, Matt, I just started a company. Where should I start with my marketing? First thing I would say is build a website. It doesn't have to be fancy, but a 5 or 10 page website, it will be great because Google likes to know there is a website. Then I would set up your Google My Business, and then I would try to optimize it, upload pictures, get reviews, all of that. It's super important. When you set up your social media accounts, which you should do as well, you don't really necessarily have to post a ton, but add those to your Google My Business profile or Google Business profile. And once you have your website and your Google Business set up, then I would turn on LSA. I don't think if I was starting out, I would start with Google Ads. And the reason is, and I'm talking about the search ads, you are going to get your butt kicked if you don't know what you're doing. It's just very, very complicated to do. And that's why Google's pushing a lot of AI. You could work on some local SEO and do all of those things. The truth is, as much time as you could invest in this stuff, it's probably not worth it to learn it all. But if you just set up a Google My Business, got a great website and an LSA account, your phone would probably start ringing and you can make some money. And then if you're making money, doing a good job at what you do, then you get down the road, get some help for your marketing. So that's kind of like the blueprint. A lot of people are asking about AI and how expensive is AI to implement into service businesses. Well, it depends on where you go, and it's not too expensive, but there are levels of quality. So we are implementing, as I shared, with scheduling, SMS, chat, and all of those. We're doing that as all of our packages. And they're usually included in both our Kickstarter package and full marketing growth campaign. So our Kickstarter package is for smaller companies that are just kind of getting started, that need a foundation built. And it's a one-time package that we do for them that's usually broken down over about 9 to 12 months. And then ongoing growth campaigns as we are partnering with them to help them grow. But we're including this in everything. The problem is if you are going to get AI set up, it probably shouldn't be more than a few $100s per month. But the problem is it's so new that people are they're charging a ton, or you are using some system that then has AI built into it, but it doesn't integrate with the other system. So if it's an AI application or a tool, it needs to have open API or be built in. And so right now we don't sell AI only because we focus on growth. Hey, Grow Inc. But I am talking with Jeff, and later this year, we may release an AI only package that's probably going to be around $500 a month plus setup. And the reason we're thinking about doing this is because it's just so helpful for businesses, but it's a way for us to package everything into our software so everything works the right way. So if you're interested in that, you may want to request our free resources at Grow Inc., and then you'll be on our email list to know when we release that update, or subscribe to the podcast. So I may share that as well. Another question I get, and this is pretty funny, is like people will email us or say, hey, just tell me what's the number one thing in marketing. What's the silver bullet? And I laugh because there is not one most important thing. A lot of things matter. And it's kind of like building a house for, like think about this is like a lot of things matter. So you may have, a great roof, but if the trusses aren't in place, it doesn't matter how good the roof is. You may have great, concrete block walls, but if the foundation's a mess. And so I tell people that building marketing is like building a house. And if you build it the right way, it'll last a long time, it will work, and your company will grow. And I'll give you an example. This year, you may start sending out quarterly emails. Well, that could give you maybe a 3 to 5% growth in your revenues this year. You could really work on your unique selling points and come up with a great overall marketing message for your business. Well, that could help you grow by 15%, and like, think about that. You just imagine if you have a higher conversion rate and you go from closing, let's say 45%, but you go to 50% closing rate by improving your unique selling points or unique selling propositions. You could grow by 10% by cutting waste from your local service ads and your Google Ads account by just taking that money and reallocating to what's working. Maybe you implement a funnel for AI and you get another 20% or 15% growth because more people are booking. One area I see a ton of weaknesses is in sales, and the salespeople that our clients often employ. When there's a great sales guy and there's a lot of leads, they crush it. When there's more leads and a terrible sales guy, it's more things falling through the cracks. So you could hire a better sales guy and see a strong growth, maybe 20%, 15, 20%. And so as you can see, there's a lot of things that go in here. Maybe you get 10% by improving your site, organic, SEO. Social media may give you a 5%. Meta ads could give you 15% growth. Maybe if you as a business owner got more focused and more disciplined and focused on systems, maybe that alone could give you a 10 or 20% growth because you are a better leader. Why am I saying this? Because there isn't a magic potion for growth. Listen, you could do all of the right marketing and all of the right setup and yet drive things into the ground if you don't have your stuff in order. And so there are a lot of good things to do. And if you focus on those things and you do those things, I think that you will see success. But when you think there is just one area that is going to change everything, you miss the big picture of business, entrepreneurship at that as well. And you try to hack the system. And the secret is figuring out what is most important to do. Now, I just told you what I would do if I was starting out. Make sure your website's healthy. Get your LSA and your Google My Business set up. And then, hey, we've got a whole marketing checklist we give away for free and tell you the most important things as part of our podcast. But what I tell our clients, and I tell you this again, is like when you make things healthy, you build a good foundation, healthy things are going to grow. When you do them, you are going to see success. And that's kind of where growing comes in. This podcast, our free training on our site. There's videos. We just launched a YouTube channel. We're launching a school group where we'll have trainings and weekly calls, and even how we handle our clients. So today I've got monthly coaching calls, and we're going to talk about their AI and sales. I talked to another client about their ads this afternoon. Like we coach them and give them guidance on business and marketing. and you do things the right way and you focus on it, that is our recipe for growth. But I know some of you want that quick hack, and unfortunately, I don't have one for you. You're like, well, what about meta ads? I heard they work, and they do work, and we do use them, but they work until they don't. And if you have all of your eggs in one basket, be it meta ads or LSA or whatever you're doing, then that's not good. The secret is to have a system in place. And that's what we build at Grow Inc. We build systems, a marketing system, and provide education and training and support. And we are the people that will help you run that system. And a lot of times business owners think that their success is going to be in the technology, where that is the biggest investment. If I just get the right tech, right? If I get this AI stuff you're talking about, Matt, that's going to be the secret to your success, but it really isn't, right? You could have all the right technology and a bad sales guy, and you won't win. You'll have someone answering the phone, and she's rude to the people, and you won't see success. You won't have systems in your place and processes in your place or follow up in your place. All of these things, and you're not going to see success. In the future, this is my prediction. AI is going to really change things, right? It's going to make it better in a lot of ways. In other ways, it's going to be less personal. But I believe the companies that are going to see the greatest success are going to leverage AI, but they're going to value people more than anything. And so what I'm going to tell you guys is I do marketing for companies, and some of them are great leaders, and some of them really know how to care about their staff, their people, even us as we are a partner with them. And these companies, when you add a ton of marketing to them, they grow like crazy. But when there is chaos inside of that company, oh my gosh, more leads and things like that do not solve the problem. Yeah, they grow some, but not compared to what they could do if the leader really just took some advice. And so as I close out today's podcast, what I would encourage you is, yes, focus on marketing, but take a great look in the mirror every morning and say, what can I do to be better, right? What is the most important thing I have to do? Instead of having 1,000 ideas this year, do 15 of those ideas and do them really, really well and finish them. Start with one thing at a time and make sure you finish those. I think that's about it for today's podcast. If you want to grow your company in 2026, here's what I would suggest. Go to Grow Inc. That's www.gro.inc and request our free resources. There you will find our free book, which is the complete outline for growing your service business. It's 100 pages of power-packed content, not written by AI, but by a guy who's been doing marketing since 2001. And it's the exact steps we use to help companies grow by as much as 400 to 500%. And be sure to listen to the first 12 parts of this podcast. It is that blueprint for growth in a very practical way that we break down. If you go to our website, you'll also find our marketing checklist, our software tools, and a ton of other training resources and video. And you'll also be on the list when our Grow Inc. School is released, which is going to have podcasts. You'll be able to access all our resources, but it's also going to have some webinars and a weekly coaching call to help. All of that is free. And you're like, Matt, this is crazy. You guys are just giving away free stuff. Yes, it's part of the 4-step marketing process. It's education. And as we talk about sales later this year, we're going to do some episodes on sales. You're going to see that if you educate and you help people, then you don't really have to sell. It's actually a really brilliant way to do business. So with that said, that's why we give away all of those free resources. I want to thank you for listening today, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.